I have had a lot of friends that have done one-person shows, and they're all over the place, right? Some are autobiographical that they've written themselves, and like, this is my story of when I went to, Bible camp in eighth grade, and the story, of that, to stories that are about someone in a foreign land doing, having an adventure. This one, I've never done a one-person show ever, and I'm really excited about it because, as I said, it's not just me getting up and talking about one event on my own. It's more, as somebody even said the other day, we were talking about the play and said it's kind of a PowerPoint in some ways. It goes from, it's not happening in the moment. It's sort of, he knows he's delivering this from point A to point B and C all the way to Z. So he has it all planned out, almost like a lecture in some ways, but it's so concise, and that's why I don't know what could change this. But I don't think it's going to be any more than an hour, but it's packed. It's a very packed hour of experience and that journey. One of the things about the narrator that I really appreciate, and I've already said this a bunch of times, is he's in telling the story, he's a very even keeled person, very straight ahead, as he doesn't dwell on some of the really difficult things that happen in the story. Whereas, and I guess I'm a little bit prejudiced too, in that I think it's a very English play, even though we've been able, and they say right at the beginning of the play, change it however you need to for whatever country or language you're doing it in, or however old the character is, or race nor age nor ability matters at all for this performer. That's why this play has been so popular. It can be an actor of any background. Speaking of that English quality of the play, is it doesn't dwell like, if it was an American play, we'd have we'd have a lot more breakdowns, a lot of emotional stuff going on. And in fact, there's some great jokes that are, since in the HBO version, there's some great jokes in there because the performer is British. He's not trying to hide it. And some of his jokes are English, so he changes them in the play, right in there. So I've altered it a little bit. He's 20 years at least younger than I am, so a lot of the music choices weren't around when I was that age. So I've done that too, and that's really useful. And I think it's useful for the audience we have mostly at the Grizzly Peak too, the Rogue Theater. One of the key things about the play is it is a one quote unquote solo performance, but it's not. It's not at all. It is a dialogue with the audience. And folks who are interested or in the habit of viewing a play where they're sitting out in the dark and there's a performer up there doing the tap dancing and telling a story, will be very surprised. This is going to be done in Grizzly Peak Winery. It's not going to have any lighting effects. It's in a room, and the performance is dependent on the audience participation. Now, don't panic. That doesn't mean you're going to have to memorize lines or anything like that. It's very simple. And as soon as it happens, and everybody I've talked to who's worked on the play says this, as soon as it begins and we get the feeling of it, everybody relaxes and we know that we're all part of this play. I don't want to give too much specifics away because that's kind of what the fun of it is too. There's some great surprises in here. So I guess if there's one big challenge of the play, it's keeping the energy up as a performer to work directly with the audience and to get them to participate and feel that calm, because that's the great thing about the play. Even though it's dealing with really heavy issues, it's not really a heavy play in some ways. It's not hysterically funny, but there's some humor in it, but it's very heartfelt. And as I said, it's very heartfelt without being sentimental, which I really appreciate.